Hey everybody, more from my Scrum with GitHub Projects series. In this exciting episode, I'm going to demo how to convert draft issues to real issues, how to organize your repository and your issues so that you don't lose them, and then we're going to wrap up with a demo of issue types. Let's jump in. Okay, so here we are back on our backlog, and if you watched the previous video, you know that all of these product backlog items are draft issues. And we know that they're draft issues and not full-fledged issues because of this icon right here. And if we move the mouse over to this little drop-down menu thingy right here, this brings up the Row Actions menu. It's tough to see that it actually says Row Actions because my mouse cursor is covering the tooltip, but trust me, that's what it says. Right now, the first item that's in the menu is the option to convert to issue. Click that option and we get this dialog that says Search Repositories. Since issues in GitHub are attached to a GitHub repository, a repo, when we convert an issue from draft to real, we need to pick where it's going to go. Put another way, when we create an issue from this draft issue, which repository is that new issue going to get created in? So you can either pick the repo from the list or search for it using the search box. Now, in order to keep your stuff organized, my recommendation is to create a repository with the same name as your GitHub project. So let's go do that. I'm going to open a new tab and go to the org page, the account page, so that I can create a new repository. Come up to the nav bar, right-click on the name of my org, new tab. And here we are on the org page. There are a bunch of places to access the Create New Repo functionality, but I'm going to just click on the New button that's down here. And now we're on the Create New Repository page. For this demo, I'm not going to worry too much about the options on this page. I'm just going to create a new empty repository, and I'm going to name it the same name as my GitHub project. And I'm going to paste in the name of my project. My project's name has spaces in it, and because of that, I'm getting this warning message. The message is telling me that yada yada yada, a repository name can't have spaces, and that it'll replace the spaces with dashes. Sounds good to me. Scroll down a little bit so that we can see the bottom of the page. And down here, there's the Create Repository button. Click the Create Repository button. Wait a moment, and our new repository is here. That's all we need to do for now. We've got a new repository that will hold the issues from our project. Let's head back to the previous tab, the tab with our project and the draft issues. And now I'll go back to that draft issue, bring up the menu, and click Convert to Issue. The repo that we just created is not in the list, so we need to search for it. So click into the Search Repositories box and start typing. Here's the repo that's going to hold our real issues. Select that. And it's been converted to a real issue. The icon has changed, and it's been assigned an issue number, which you can see right here on the right-hand side of the title. Through the magic of video editing, I'm quickly going to repeat the draft to real conversion on the rest of these items. And now all the draft issues have been converted to real issues. Now that these are official GitHub issues, we can mark them as being a type of issue. To make that change, you'll need to open up the detail view for the issue. To do that, just click on the item you want to view or edit. And now we can see the details for this issue. The project information, aka the values that are stored at the project level rather than at the issue level, you can see those values here. Pretty much everything else on this screen is related to the issue, and there are a bunch of new things that weren't available when this was a draft issue. One of those new things is the Type section. If I come over to the Type section and click on the gear icon, that brings up the Select Issue Type dialog. This dialog shows us the available types that we can assign to our issue. In this case, we can pick from bug, enhancement, feature, task, or user story. Using issue types helps us to differentiate the various types of stuff that we need to worry about in our project. Basically, it gives us yet another way to keep our stuff organized and avoid having our project's work become a big amorphous pile of miscellaneous items. The issue type I'm going to select is user story. User story is just another word for requirement, which is another word for product backlog item. So user story it is. Choose User Story from the menu, and now we can see the little User Story badge under Type. But when we get back to the backlog view, we can't see the User Story issue type, but we can add more columns to this backlog view. To choose that extra column, we'll come over to the Backlog tab and bring up the Customization menu by clicking on the drop-down button. We're going to want to add an additional field, and we'll do that using the Fields option. Open that submenu up, and in the bottom half of the menu, there's a hidden field called Type. Click that, and it moves from hidden fields to visible fields. And then you can click and drag it to a new position to change how it appears in the grid. I'm going to move it up towards the top. That changes the position of the column. It happens to be hidden by the menus at the moment, but I'm happy with the changes, so I'm going to click the Save button. And here's our new type column. And we can see that the first item, the first issue, is of type User Story. Now that I have the type column here, I can not only view the type, but I can also quickly set the type value without having to open the detail view for the issue. One thing you might notice is that if you position your mouse just right over one of these grid cells, that you get a different icon that looks like a plus sign. This lets you quickly copy the value of a cell to another cell. It's a little tricky at first. You'd think you could select a bunch of cells and then select a value. Nope, that just edited only this cell. If we want to copy the value, select a cell that already has the value you want, just like what I have here. Then drag that fill icon box thingy down over the cells you want to copy to, and then release the mouse button. And then the value gets copied into the other boxes. Pretty slick, huh? So that wraps it up for this demo. I showed you, well, in this one, how to do conversion of draft issues into real issues. We set up a repo for holding those issues, and then we talked about issue types. This wraps up the core of the product backlog topics for right now. I'll do more videos on the issue of product backlog ownership and product backlog refinement later on in future episodes. But for right now, that's it for product backlog stuff. In the next video, we're going to pivot to topics related to sprint planning. Specifically, I'm going to show you how to start breaking down these requirements into tasks using sub-issues. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned.